Hey there, YouTube friends, Masked Bandit here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me again. I appreciate it. If I haven't already seen you on a live stream or on Bro Nation, I would like to wish all of you a very happy new year. What's the cutoff for when you can stop saying that? Like a week? 2 weeks? When does it become weird to wish someone a happy new year? Like obviously March or April, that'd be bizarre. But like how many days, or do you get 2 weeks? When do you not? Anyway, that has nothing to do with this. Welcome back to Conifer Slopes. It's been a while. A long while. Several months since Conifer Slopes. If I remember correctly, I think it was right after Surfside Pleasure Pier. We did an episode of Conifer Slopes, and we promptly abandoned it and started a fall project, and then started a winter project. And here we are now in the new year, in 2019, with nothing to do except work on some stuff that's already in existence. So yeah, we're working on Conifer Slopes today. I hope you're excited for that. I know I am. It's always nice to open this back up and get working on it. No idea how long this is going to be around for. Maybe maybe this is it. Oops, I just knocked something off my desk. Maybe maybe that's it. Maybe this episode is just a one-offer. Maybe we'll get a couple. Maybe we'll go all the way and do a ton. I don't know. I've been live streaming a little bit so far this new year. We did the 1 year Bro Nation anniversary stream on the 1st, and oh god, I was so hungover for that. I was so uncomfortable. I also streamed actually Conifer Slopes the next day on Wednesday. I'm gonna try my best to do weekly streams, Wednesday weekly streams of a game, and I'm not going to guarantee it's Planet Coaster every time. It might be, as long as I'm in the mood, it'll be Planet Coaster. But also I'm going to try to do Sundays and Sunday afternoons. So my goal, if I can do it, one of my New Year goals is to focus more on live streaming. Doing live streaming twice a week, most weeks, hopefully. So be on the lookout for that. I do still plan to move my streaming to Twitch at some point. I wanted to have it done by the 1st, but with traveling and all that stuff, I didn't get as much time to figure that stuff out as I wanted. So, but at some point I will announce that, and you can expect to see those on Twitch. And I guess what the standard do is just record it locally, and then make video on demands that go on YouTube? Is that is that the expectation? And if so, is that what you want? Because if so, that's what I can do. Still really energized by Planet Coaster. I expect to get episodes of that out semi-regularly. Still probably won't do more than 2 videos or so a week on the channel for quite a while yet. You know, school, real life, all that stuff. Also, the music's a little loud in my ears. It's distracting me currently, but I have some plans for new projects in Planet Coaster that I'd like to tackle, small scale, like I've been doing recently. And also, boy, big shout out to Silent Member, who hosted a marathon of Planet Bro Coaster yesterday, and yesterday being January the 2nd. We checked that out. I think he started at 6 in the morning, and it wasn't over till almost 2 in the morning his time. So what a trooper that guy was for starting all that up. And every episode of Planet Bro Coaster, and we watched him in succession. And it was fun. I was in and out throughout the day. But what it ended up doing is getting me really excited to get back into that park. And so hopefully you can expect episode 37. It's just about finished editing. I'm hopeful that can come out soon. And then after that, I've been working on No Name Landia, actually, today. I did some work on it. Yay! And it was fun. I actually enjoyed it. It was exciting to be back in that park. So I feel a little more amped, which is why Conifer Slopes is back. By the way, we should probably talk about what's going on. There's a lot of bits and bobs and odds and ends in this episode today. You'll notice we did a little bit to dress up the balloon ride. I think I call it Launch on the Docks. We did that, and here we are kind of shoring up this backstage area that John T left for us, and trying to get that shaped up a little bit, looking a little bit better. and hopefully you are agreeing that that is starting to come together. We'll add the same kind of details to that area like we did in the backstage area for phase 1. And we also start doing some grand planning. I don't know if I actually included that in this recording. I might have. We'll see if it comes up there. So I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, but all things considered, I'm pretty in a Planco zone right now. You know, that happens. You'll fade in and out of zones, in and out of feeling like playing and stuff, and I'm kind of energized to play, and I don't know how long that'll last, but let's roll with it and see how much content I can get out to you fine folks. So hopefully it's a lot. One of the things that is kind of bugging me, though, is all the struggles I'm seeing a lot of people have ever since Magnificent Rides came out. It seems like the game's become really unstable for a large number of people, myself included. All of a sudden, I'm starting to get crashing whenever I exit. I exit the game and it crashes. Granted, I still get to save, so it's more of a nuisance than anything serious. And I noticed for me it didn't start until I started downloading custom content. And I downloaded custom content for our live stream that we did, where we checked out a bunch of Bronation projects. So it was really upsetting to see that the custom content, the toolmaker, the big thing, was, I think, is what's responsible for those random crashes I'm getting. And there are other people who have no custom content installed on their machine, and they're still having troubles. And it's upsetting to hear that, and it's really sucking the energy out of a lot of people who otherwise would be really excited in building. So I just wanted to say, hey, if you're one of those people that's having struggles with Planet Coaster, I feel for you, man. That sucks. And just know you're not alone, and there's a lot of people out there that are struggling right now. And if you have no struggles with Planet Coaster, like I'm really fortunate. I have had very minimal issues. Hey, good for you. Now go do something with that. Go build something awesome. So I'm trying to do. Now, working on this little nook here, I really like it. That little fencing and the trees and that little nice little lakeside scene there. How that turned out really nice. This is all gone. This pit stop, the Pipshot pit stop, you might recognize that if you're a fan of Jaunty. If you saw the work I did for him for Pinewood Hills, you might recognize that. I built that for him, and I thought it would look perfect somewhere in Conifer Slopes. I kind of plopped it here because I had room and didn't know where else to put it. So, but it is gone now. It is moved. We'll put it somewhere else because Wings and Strings, you probably know from RollerCoaster, he was kind enough to make a mock. He did some quick sketching to show me a potential layout. I think I mentioned this. He did some stuff to show me a potential layout for Conifer Slopes to include the train station so people will actually ride it, incorporate some hills, and where my hypercoaster in the western area might want to go based on what I currently have. And I was so enthused by it that I was that at one point in this play session, I actually rip a bunch of foliage out and start grand planning, and I actually plop down a hypercoaster, the lift of a hypercoaster, and that was what I live streamed yesterday, and it was a struggle. It was a struggle building coasters on live stream. I don't think you're gonna get that from me very often. I am so unconfident with my coaster building skills, and I get so nervous. I get so just overwhelmed. That's a better word. I get so overwhelmed when on a live stream and I've got tons of people telling me all different things, all different ways how to do it and how to make it right and how what I'm doing doesn't look right yet. And I just can't make the tracks do what I want on a live stream. It's really nerve-wracking and it becomes a lot less fun. So if there's coasters, well, obviously there's going to be more coasters in this park, but I am not going to build them on live streams. I don't think. We'll save live streaming for things I'm better at, where I can relax and chat as opposed to get all upset. Not that I was upset. I wasn't upset in the live stream. I just it stopped being fun because I wasn't getting the results I wanted. And then having 50, 60 people watch you do it in real time, that's a little awkward. So all this foliage will also be gone, so enjoy it while it's there. Yeah, enjoy it. One thing that has been bothering me, I know I just mentioned about how upsetting it was to hear about people having problems with their parks, with their game. One thing I'm really bugged about is what they did the advanced move tool. It was broken after the theme maker toolkit where it wouldn't align to the relative grid, and now that it aligns to the relative grid, I don't like what they did with it. They changed it. They did something with it so that now it averages all the angles of all the pieces. And man, I wish they had kept the y axis flat so that it's so goofy. It's so wonky. You'll see when I rotate pieces here, I have to use the world axis. Not that that's a problem. It's just laying fencing now is a major pain. Doing anything repetitive like that where you have a few pieces that are oriented differently, and not that I'm orienting, I don't know, is that a word? Orientating them differently. It's just simply that the way they use the axes of the advanced move tool are different. And so it's impossible to actually line things up correctly the way you want them to. And it's really, really frustrating. It makes things like pathing take way longer than they need to. Way longer. Not pathing, like curbing and fencing. Anything custom like that takes way longer now. Which is kind of I think the opposite of what the advanced move tool should do. It should make it easier to select and copy and all that stuff. Speaking of that, they changed the now shift selects and control deselects when clicking on objects. That threw me off for a while, and I'm still getting used to that, and I'm not sure I like that all that much, but whatever. Let's talk about what's going on here. We're using the Magnificent Rides because it is awesome. At the end of the day, I really do enjoy this DLC. Bugs notwithstanding, quirks notwithstanding, the rides themselves are really nice. This Grand Carousel is super cool, something that has been asked for such a long time. It's nice to finally see it in the game, and it needed to go in. It needed to go in, and so a lot like what John T did with Magnificent Rides, doing some swapping out. That's what we're doing here with the Grand Carousel. We're going to give it a better cover because that cover that I built originally was one of the very first covers I ever made in Planet Coaster, and that was before you could disable collision. So if you ever wondered why it looked so weird, it's because I had to build it that way because it's the only way it would work. I got it as close as I could without the collision detection kicking in. Now that that's not an issue, we can build better. So hopefully by the end of this time lapse, you will agree that this looks a lot better. My inspiration, I'm trying to remember. Maybe Darien, no, not Darien Lake. Maybe it was. I just typed in Grand Carousel on, nope, Six Flags New England. I think it's Six Flags New England was my reference that I was going off of, and it's similar but still quite different. That was my inspiration that I used. Here you go. Here's a good example of that weird. Oh, you can't see it. It went too fast. Never mind. So here's an example of the weird gizmo, but it's fine. Whatever. So I wanted to make this. This actually resembles much closer the second version of the carousel, the second version of Conifer Slopes. I remember, if you've been watching this since the beginning of the series, this is the fourth version of Conifer Slopes. The first three obviously took place in RollerCoaster Tycoon 3, and the second version, which was the most short-lived version, had a much more Victorian atmosphere. Everything was much more grander. There was a lot more ironwork, trellis, that kind of stuff, and it felt much more Victorian. And I abandoned it rather quickly because it felt too far removed from the original Conifer Slopes. But this carousel cover doesn't feel Victorian, but it has that bit of grandeur to it, especially once we add the roof. We're going to do one of the corrugated metal roofing, and you can see we're starting that right here, actually. What timing. Start the corrugated metal roof here, and once that's in with the ribbing, I think that really makes it look a lot more regal, which is always exciting. So yeah, there's not much. One thing I do like about the new gizmo is you can select a bunch of them. Like, as long as they're all on the same axis like that, I get the pluses to it. And I guess maybe after enough playing around with it, I'll get used to it. I like that I can select pieces on an angle and they'll go with that angle. I get that. That makes sense. It used to not do that. It used to be kind of wonky. But so I guess there's some trade-offs. I don't know. Now I'm conflicting myself. But anyway, you'll see. I'm trying to see, is this the first or second version? I actually had to redo the top part of the roof because it was too shallow. You couldn't actually see it. Once I placed it and went into peep view, you actually couldn't even see it. It was it was too short, so I ended up having to make it bigger. So one of the tricks I had to do here is use 2 beams for the ribbing. Each one is a spooky beam on its side. I had to actually use 2 pieces, and the second one I rotate 180 degrees, and that allows me to move them side to side, because if I didn't have it that way, if I had them both aligned the same, it would give me an axis where I wouldn't move parallel to the ground, and I really needed that to save me some time, so I found a quick workaround. Now it's kind of cool, so that worked out well. So yeah, after this, I still have to work on the backstage area near the wharf area a bunch more, and I also want to get started on the western area. Now, if it were you, and you were in control, let's just pretend that you were in control, would you want me to release a phase 2 before I start building the western area? Or would you rather get a bunch more episodes of a western area whenever they've come? Not saying they would come immediately, but whenever they arrive, would you rather see a western area attached to a phase 2? So phase 2 would be the addition of the wharf and the western area. Or would you say, no, just give me the wharf? Let me know what your thoughts are. What would you rather see? I'm kind of open to either. Obviously, if you choose option 1, that means a release much sooner, but a lot less new stuff to explore. So what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear it in the comments below. Also considering, just letting you know, also considering doing starting a new park, a small park, hopefully, to use Magnificent Rides. I was given something really, really cool by a member of Bro Nation named Uakins. I'm sure I've mentioned him before, either in streams or in episodes of Planet Coaster. And he was super kind and built me a very special building as like a Christmas gift to be used somewhere in a project, like to kind of inspire an area. And he did such a fantastic job with it. And I want to use that new building in a new project, because what he built is super cool. And yeah, it would kind of fit in Conifer Slopes, but it's a theme that I never envisioned for Conifer Slopes, but it would totally work in my idea for a new project. So if you see a new project, it would be like, if you think that, I've never considered Conifer Slopes to be super generic. I consider it rustic generic, like lots of wood, lots of timber, that kind of thing. Almost like a Dollywood, or almost like a Silver Dollar City. I want to do something way more generic, kind of Cedar Fair, Cedar Point-ish, like really, really generic. I think that'd be lots of fun. And make it hopefully smaller. We'll see. Like a really small, super generic theme park. That'd be kind of fun, I think. And then really take advantage of Magnificent Rides. Put in all of them. I think that'd be fun. So that, if a new Planet Coaster project comes out, it would be that. And that's what we would work on in between episodes of Conifer Slopes and in between Bro Coaster. Because the problem with Bro Coaster, and it's not really a problem, but I guess the issue with Bro Coaster is when I'm working on that, I'm not working on other things, and I'm not recording myself working on that. And those episodes it takes a really long time to build stuff for those episodes to have enough to show. And so for myself, making sure there's enough stuff on my channel, there might be pauses while I spend the time working on Bro Coaster, while that motivation is there. So I don't know. Everything's kind of up in the air right now. So just stay tuned. Hopefully, like I said earlier, there will be Planet Coaster of some variety on the channel once or twice a week, with streams once or twice a week. Hopefully, fingers crossed. No promises. Since I used a dome from Vintage that had lights on it already, I figured it was a perfect excuse to go ahead and do some string lighting on the actual roof of the carousel. And this is just about it now. The carousel is all but done. We hide that ugly wire there so that it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. What did I forget to do? Oh, I wanted to add some extra lighting on it. That's right. So we add this little spoopy globe. A reminder that now that, I tried really hard to make sure there was no custom content in the first phase, and there still was, apologies. But now that's all out the window. I can't not use DLC anymore. I can tell you, though, that I am almost certain that this park will not contain any custom content, any Theme Maker Toolkit stuff. It'll use the official DLCs, but I'm really not interested in downloading a lot of the custom content because of what I've heard it does to people's machines. I don't want 7-8 minute Cobra loading screens, random crashing, instability. I don't want that. So I already have some stuff downloaded, and I'm not sure how much of it I'm going to keep. Like I said, I used it for the live stream. I might go in and purge quite a bit of it because it spooks me out too much. So if you're not into that either, you don't want to download a bunch of custom content, don't worry. Conifer Slopes, as long as you have the DLC, you can save it. And even if you don't have the DLC, you'll still be able to download it and check it out, which is super cool. So now the carousel is in place. It is obviously bigger than the original, which means the terrain's a little goofy, but I didn't want to rip out all that pathing in front of it to smooth it all out, so we're going to kind of just fudge it. So there's really not much else we can do without totally crushing the area. That's the hard part about replacing things in an established area that aren't exactly the same size. It doesn't quite work out necessarily all the time. But I do like it. I think it is close to the original in its vibe, and I think it's actually a little bit cleaner than the original, which is good. One of the interesting parts of Conifer Slopes is it really is a timeline of my development as a player in Planet Coaster. Like, this whole front area is really early newbie Masked Bandit, and the farther back we get towards the wharf, the more it's clear I get comfortable with the program and get better at it. And I've had some people, Mike actually, clearly Mike, he was telling me that I should go back in and I should pull a Pinewood and I should revamp the entrance area and get it better. The biggest thing I'm worried about is that it's the scale of the area. The layout is kind of spread out at this point, and I'm not sure how easy that would be to fix. So I might leave this just as it is and plow ahead and make sure that the rest of the areas are even better than everything around it. That's kind of what I'm looking for, so that when you download it, you can be like, oh yeah, here's where he didn't know what he was doing. Look at that. Look at how ugly those signs are. And hey, look at over here. It's clear he figured some stuff out. So I don't know, I kind of like that. There's a certain charm to that, I think. So anyway, we are finishing up here. I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button, consider subscribing if you haven't, and leave some love in the comments below. And with that being said, have yourself a great day, great night, great whatever, and I will see you for the next episode of Conifer Slopes. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.